We are here for 2 intense days of making sure that we are the best leaders that we can possibly be. I want to talk a little bit about that as a way of introduction to kind of get our heads into what we're doing here. We began our experience with kind of becoming more of a lean enterprise with the idea of saving jobs. Rather than offshore manufacturing, we got to figure out how to do things productively here. But it was about 5 years into our journey when I suddenly realized what had happened is that people had become powerful. Our people had risen up to the challenge, and they were different than they were before. They were like, they felt this sense of accountability and an ability to have impact. And that is what we chase now. We end up with strong revenue, on-time delivery, great products, wonderful catalog, functioning machinery and equipment and facilities. But all of those they come out of the fact that we have powerful people who every day are operating at their highest level of capability. And the reason why we're gathering here today and tomorrow is to try to further engage our people, to more completely bring people out, and hopefully to engage you as well. The Toyota operating system, their philosophy is number one, the customers first. If we don't have customers, we don't have a business. And if we're not figuring out how to give them what they want, provide them the very best value, then we're not going to stay in business very long. Customer is first. How do we do that? What do they want from us? And that's at the top of the shingle model as well. The second philosophy is that the most valuable resource is people. People make it all happen. And the third principle is Kaizen, of course, which is also on the Shingo pyramid, that we engage people at the foundation to drive continuous improvement aligned to more value to the client. And the fourth principle of the Toyota operating system, philosophy I should say, is focused on the workplace. Go to the Gemba, do everything we do. Think about the way you work, the way you do what you do, and ask yourself, how do we do this better? And we're all trying to engage our people. Our own Tanner Institute tells us that the top 3 roles of a manager are first to connect to your people, second, connect them to each other, and third, connect them to the company, to the purpose of the company. And that's what we need to do. Our evaluation of our performance, of our capabilities as leaders, is the engagement of our people. How engaged are they? When we're in the hall listening to their reports, what are we seeing in this team? It's a reflection on us as leaders. The more engaged they are, the more excited, the more involved they are, it tells something about how we lead. And certainly what they accomplish is paramount. Not because we are driving improvements, but because the amount that they drive improvements says how much we are trusting them, how much we are engaging them, how much we're helping them connect and be part of this business. And that's what matters, is building powerful people who can impact this business, but also can impact the community and their homes and their churches and their schools and everything around them. That's what we're trying to create here. So we hope that in these next 2 days, today and tomorrow, that you will listen intently with the idea of how do you as leaders, those who are providing either direct leadership with the people or who are keeping our systems working, our machinery working, the facility operating, who are making sure the customer has the best product possible, how do we do that best? How can we better do that? And that's what we want you to focus on, is each of us being our very best selves. And we're going to invite you tomorrow to step up your performance. Everybody, let's be even better than we are. That's going to be the invitation tomorrow as part of our strategy meetings. And so listen today with that in mind, of all of us stepping up and being our best selves.
So I love what Gary had to share there, raising the bar. That's
Yeah.
going to be a
That's
fantastic
really good.
thing to focus on for the second day. For this first day, Gary leads us into meeting with several leaders from different departments, and they represent what's happening in that area of the business. So listening to what they have to say is really critical and important to the leaders that are attending this strategy offsite.
Yeah, I love this segment of the first day because it really brings the expertise from around the country and from around the company and puts it in one room and allows everybody to hear it from the source.
Yeah, so this meeting represents everyone who is a leader who has direct reports. We have analysts, we have directors, and we have some engineers that help support the teams. And that group, the expectation is take some good notes, and you're going to share the insights and the learnings from these 2 days with your team in what is called a cascade catchball process, which will be in the next video.
Yeah, absolutely. We're releasing a video on that soon, so stay tuned. Yeah, absolutely. So this segment really communicates the vision down to the level of these managers and of these engineers, and so that they can go back and make informed decisions and not be siloed to what is going on in the rest of the company.
Yeah, so in this first day, the information that's provided is going to be very helpful as team members now begin to determine what are their goals. And those goals will lead them off into the next 5 months as they go to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one thing I also wanted to mention about these reports, Gary takes an opportunity to teach and to train his leaders. So you'll hear some of his insights. He already gave some really good development direction in the first day, but then he also follows that up in the second day, because it's not just about reviewing the content, but he also has really great leaders that are building up and becoming better themselves. And so as he teaches them, it allows them to be stronger and to have a stronger foundation of leadership with principles that they can apply in their everyday work.
And this segment is a really great chance to hear from everybody from around the company. And it really helps us not be so siloed from all of the other areas. We hear from accounting, we hear from marketing, sales, international, our IT team, client support, our human resources team. All of these leaders come to share what's going on in their area, and it really, really helps the leaders in ours.
I mean, what better way to celebrate than to have some pie as a refreshment?
Absolutely.
What's your favorite pie?
And the day with the pie, pecan pie. But they didn't bring it, but that's okay.
Yeah, no,
That's my
pecan
favorite.
pie,
I'll take
apple pie.
Apple and pumpkin as a close second. So.
Yeah, I like that berry pie. That's pretty good. It makes me feel like I'm eating something healthy, but maybe it's not healthy. I don't know.
I don't even bother.
Tastes so good. It's like, well, there's fruit in there, so it must be good for you.
If I'm eating pie, I'm all in. No help there for me.
That's right.
All right, and then this leads us into day 2, which is where we take everything that we learned and everything that we heard from all the teams on day 1, and we can begin discussing what's important for each team and how is this going to apply to making them bigger and better.
Yeah, and we call this the strategy offsite because we're actually leaving the building and we're going to some location, and we get to be there together. And getting everyone away from the building allows us to separate enough that we can keep ourselves focused on what's being discussed. So Gary's going to talk about some of the wonderful insights that he has to share with the leaders. So let's take a listen to what he has to say.
I think being bold is the best strategy. I think being bold is the right thing to do. Try it. We've tried lots of things that haven't worked. This one did, which I think matters. Once we recognized that we weren't doing those things, we said, no, let's double down on the systems that we know that work. When times get tough, you got to stick to the things that work. Even though we're better than we've ever been, I think, we really can't get comfortable. And rather than me telling you why we can't get comfortable, y'all tell me, why can't we just kind of settle in? Because we can't settle because it's counterculture. I love that. I love that. It would drive us crazy if we just settled where we are. Yeah. We are constantly saying to our team, we have repeatedly said to our team members, hey, everybody, we're setting a new benchmark. Everyone's got to step up to this higher level. And as part of, what was the theme again this year? As part of Build Together, I could look down here, but as part of Build Together, the question I have for us today is what are we as leaders going to do to step up? If this is a representation of leadership, actual leadership behaviors of all of us in this room, and this is the average, this is kind of where groups are, then what this suggests is the most of us kind of cluster around the average, right? There's a lot of us are kind of in this range. In every population, this is the way it works. You've got most people kind of clustered here, and you got a few people who are way out in front, a few people who are lagging behind, right? And I'm not asking you to self-identify or anything yet, but generally when we talk about stepping up, what we're basically looking for is a shift where the mean would move, right? Would move up to a higher point. And oftentimes we talk about an entire shift in the curve, where the whole curve shifts up. But I'm not sure we need a ton much more from these people, as much as maybe we just need more of these people. We need more of these people who are up here. So maybe the average is here, and then it kind of drops off like that. It's not normal to have a ton of people who are really performing, to have an averages up here, not very many people who are below the average. That's not normal. But I would suggest to you that actually this normal curve is leadership of all companies, and that OC Tanner is already skewed right. We'd love to have had more people who are performing at this highest level, and anybody who's below average currently in this group performing up above average is kind of what we're seeking. Now, when we were doing 2 years ago in our cookies meetings, we were talking about respect for people, and there's two basic statements around respect for people in the Shingo model, and the one is that we believe everyone has intrinsic value. Now, do you remember what the second one is? Everyone has intrinsic value and untapped potential. Very good. And when we were asking in the cookies meetings, why do people have untapped potential? The most frequently occurring response was maybe they just haven't been invited. Maybe they just need some encouragement. They need an invitation to they're waiting to be invited. So this is our invitation. I'm inviting you. And whatever untapped potential you have out there, it's time to bring it out together.
Okay, raising the bar. Gary talks about what that looks like and encourages everyone to define it.
Yeah, absolutely. And he really helps people here understand how can we become stronger leaders, and how can we reach deeper and find the untapped potential.
So everyone breaks up into these smaller groups, and they summarize what raising the bar looks like and how can they strengthen their skill set and development.
And then once we discuss that, we bring it back and we report out on what that looked like, and have a bigger discussion on what the big deals look like.
Yeah, and then Gary's going to bring it back together again, and then again take a moment to teach his leaders about just being more engaged, finding opportunities to step up and to want to be better.
I'm not going to make y'all get up and jump up on a chair and say, I'm in, but I want you to be in. I want you to decide that that's who we are. This culture that is so good to us, that feels so good to work in, doesn't come from holding back. It comes from being all in. That's what feels good in life, is jumping in with everything you've got. And if that's not who you are or where you are, start to experiment with that. Start to dabble with that. Start to try to be a bigger part of the solution. Together, we will build together something absolutely incredible.
All right, so at this point, we break up into groups one more time, and we break up into the groups that is specific to that value stream or that area of production, and they go over what is the big deal for them. And then that way they can be all on the same page moving forward during that strategy period to know exactly what they need to focus on that is important to them and what the big deal is.
Yeah, and even some of the support groups will bounce around from group to group and get a quick feel for what is important to them and listen to what they have to say, and then they also share what they have on their minds. And that back and forth is really important, at least early on, so they can start to begin to refine what they think is going to happen in that strategy period. And this all comes before they go and they meet with their individual teams to do the cascade process. But going and reporting now to the rest of the group gives the rest of the group now a chance to hear the summary of what they think is going to be a big deal for their focus for 5 months.
And I think that's really important because now distribution knows what manufacturing is working on, and manufacturing knows what logistics is working on, so that we're all on the same page.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of feedback about that. The post summary feedback is that they really enjoy having that post review. They really enjoy feeling like, oh, I feel connected. I feel aligned. This feels like a corporate focus that we should all be working on together. So I love that the president of the company took time out of his schedule and he came and he visited with the supply chain during their offsite. He listened to what they have to say. He attended some of the breakout groups, and then he shared his feelings about what he thinks is going on with the company. He also shared his appreciation for all the contributions that have been given.
Absolutely. And then he took just a minute to remind us of the risks and the opportunities that are ahead, and really made us feel like we were a part of what was going on at the upper level. All right, we're going to have Gary wrap things up for us as he tells us one of his favorite cake stories.
When I was in market research, Terry's wife, Steph, was on my team. So I knew Steph before I knew Terry. And we had a party. My department had a party out at their house. It was a potluck, so Tolan would have been just in heaven, right? It was a potluck, really good food. We loved it. And we finished eating, and I kept thinking about this chocolate cake that was in the kitchen. It looked really good. And I finally got permission to go cut myself a piece. And I went in there, I made the first slice. I went to make the second slice. I go, wait. That's too, don't do a big piece. You can always come back for another one. So I went half what I was thinking. You used to have a real big appetite. I used to, it slowed down a lot in my older days. So I cut this smaller piece and I put it on my plate, and I come walking back out into the living room. Everybody started laughing. And someone said, look at the size of that cake. So, even though it was half as big as what I was going to take. So the fact is, but it's not just food where I've had a big appetite. I have always had a huge appetite for results, for work, for outcomes, for getting things done. I just always believe we can do more. And in addition to that, it's as paired up in my case with also this immense optimism. I believe we can do anything. And part of that comes from the fact that we have done so much, and also we have overcome so much. So many things that maybe should have put us down, we just keep going and we keep getting better and better. Many times through my career, people have suggested to me that I need to tone down my optimism, I need to tone down my expectations. And I've thought about it and decided not to frequently. I'm still right there. I'm not toning down my expectations. I'm not toning down my optimism. And I have surrounded myself with leaders who I feel the same way about. I feel like they have high expectations and they're hopeful and have a great belief. And if being on our team, that's what you get. And right now you are getting ready to go talk with your teams next week. And I challenge you to, even in the midst of the struggles we have, the difficulties we have, to be optimistic, to be hopeful, to see a bright future that we are helping to create and drive, and to have high expectations, to set the bar high, to drive hard. People, in my experience, people deliver. If you expect and ask, people give. And you have certainly helped throughout this years to make us so good, for which I thank you and wish you much luck in your cascading.